Okay, now that we have all the paper cutouts glued to the zephyr skin, we're ready to put the zephyr skin onto the wooden body of the bellows. First thing we need to do is pre-crease the skin because it folds. There's a specific fold pattern it has when it opens and closes. So we'll put a straight edge right down the center line using our template as a guide. And simply fold the zephyr skin over using the straight edge. We remove the straight edge and we fold the zephyr skin over on itself as shown. I have a piece of parchment paper in between so it doesn't stick to itself. So here we have the pre-creased skin ready to be glued onto the wooden body of the bellows. Use a little bit of liquid hide glue right along the edge as shown. Simply tack it into position. Let that sit up for a while, and then we're ready to do the other part, the opposite edge. A little hide glue on the area shown here. I'm trying to do this so I don't obscure the camera. And then fold it up and tack it in the area shown. Give it a little test fold. Open and close the bellows to make sure the paper has a line. This is a critical part right here. Get everything into alignment so everything will glue up easily from this step forward. And let it dry as shown. So we're now ready to glue the sidewalls. And this is probably the trickiest part of putting the skins on. These little folds, when you fold the sidewalls in, there's a little compound folding that goes on right in the area where I'm going to use the back side of my forceps to try and get the folds started the way they should be. And be very gentle here because this is where you could easily poke a hole through the skin and you'd have to start over again. So that looks pretty good. And that's kind of the position that we want it to hold after it's glued into position. So once we're satisfied that that's going to work out, gently lift the sidewall back up and apply the hide glue along the edges where you want to glue it down to. You want to be fairly generous with the hide glue back in this hinged area. That's an area that's often prone to leakage. We fold the sidewalls back down and we work it into position to where the paper cutout edges line up with the wooden edges of the bellow housing. Use your fingers to tack it into place, gently working the edges. And that edge there, this little hinged area, is particularly important. You want to make sure that you get full adhesion back there for sure. This is the critical area right here. Well, now that that sidewall's glued up, we'll do the other side, and then we'll be ready to put it back into the Whistler. Okay, we have the rest of the skins glued onto the bellows assembly, and we reinstalled it into the Whistler body. We're ready to test it out. If you have any comments or questions on these videos, just use the comments section on the YouTube channel. So here we have the primary bellows, and it pumps up the reserve bellows, which in turn supplies air to the whistle. If we did a good job, the reserve bellows should expand out to the point of actually letting the lever at the bottom of the bellows dump extra air. This is a dump valve mechanism. And then when we stop the operation, we should see the reserve bellows lose air very slowly. So let's go ahead and start them up. Well, looks like we got the result we're looking for.